Hello Pisces friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my April 2020 horoscope report for you. In this report, we're going to talk about some important dates to note, how to align your efforts with the cycles of the stars for best outcomes. Venus retrograde is coming. We'll talk a little bit about that. And we'll also talk about some areas of life that are brought up through the movement of the personal planets, specifically for Pisces. Okay, so the first thing that is important to note is understanding April as this interesting little bubble that's kind of suspended weightless in between the Titan eclipses, okay, that we had at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, and the mega triple triad of transformation that's coming with the three eclipses in June and July. April is sort of in this little bubble that's sort of far enough from those first eclipses, but not quite into the next ones. But it is possible to start seeing eclipse-related changes, conclusions, news, especially the closer we get towards the end of April. Okay, so do know that things are going to start ramping up again as far as eclipses and the changes and the drama, and for better and worse. But we've got a little bit more time here, kind of just in this bubble. Okay, the second thing is, again, like we're suspended weightless here between these retrogrades, because from March 30th to April 9th is our last open window free of personal planet retrogrades or their shadow periods. Shadow periods are the weeks before and after an actual retrograde, where the stars behave very much as if the retrograde is already happening. So we start to get the storylines introduced, the types of things that tend to happen in the retrogrades start to build more every day the closer we get to the actual retrograde. So until April 9th, we're free of the Venus retrograde. We've already been cleared out from the previous Mercury retrograde. So that means if you have to launch something, okay, so I want to talk about the difference between like a major launch that we want to align in the completely open stars, and the types of things that we can do in an ongoing way during the retrogrades, okay? Because we've got a long succession of personal planet retrogrades. We've got Venus and then Mercury again and then Mars, and you know, it's going to continue being the inward-backward storyline of the year after this big last push. So I want to help you understand what it is you're trying to push out in this, you know, through April 9th. Something that is high stakes, okay? High stakes things, once in a lifetime things you've been building for forever. Those are the kind of things you want to get out free from the personal planet retrogrades. If it's something that's low stakes, like it doesn't matter either way, or it's super short term in nature, or it's super changeable and that's fine, or it's just something that is ongoing, you know, just ongoing. I'm doing this, okay, now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this. Those are the kind of things, just do those in the retrogrades. Don't worry about it. You know, it's just like the big decisions, the big contracts, the big things that you need more clarity for, the moves, the launches, birthing something out into the world in a big way. As many of those things as possible you can get, as long as it's in your intuitive flow. That has to supersede anything I say. Through April 9th is going to be, you know, it's going to have more momentum. Okay, that's what we're really talking about, is the things that need momentum. So now every day after April 9th, we're moving into the Venus shadow period. May 14th through June 25th, or actually May 13th through June 25th is when the actual Venus retrograde is. Venus rules love, beauty, and money. So it covers a massive amount of domain. And Venus retrogrades can bring in amazing things. There's nothing that has to say a Venus retrograde has to be bad. It's just tending to bring up things that are from the past. So if you have unresolved money things, if you have unresolved things in your relationships, if you have unresolved things with your self-esteem, those are the kind of things that the retrograde bring up right into your face. And it could feel bad if it's something that you're avoiding dealing with. But if you deal with it, greet it head on, and do something with it, then perhaps the next Venus retrograde, it won't have to come back up again because you've already sealed it. You've already healed it. Okay, so just know that things that have been swept under the rug, for better and worse, will come back. And you'll notice that happening more we get into April. It could be amazing for money coming in, especially from past efforts. But it's like if you want to do something new with your money, launch something new, launch a new business, that's the kind of thing you want to do more earlier in the month. The other stuff, just kind of like reaping the rewards of the webs you've already made, Retrogrades are these, energies that I like to describe as you having woven your web. So you're actively weaving your web through around April 9th, and then you kick back and you see what food comes to you. It's more of a passive way of interfacing with life than super active and pushing and, reaching, stretching. Okay, so in general, we've got a lot of support for Pisces this month. We've got Mercury continuing to move through Pisces for part of the month. So that's going to continue to bring news and blessings and inspiration that's going to kiss your sign. We still have Venus in Taurus, which is in a nice angle for the beginning of the month. And then towards the end of the month, the sun will get into Taurus, and that's a nice placement for Pisces as well. Whenever there's movement of the planets in a sign that's supportive to your placement, it's just one, group of factors that are just in your favor, we'll call it. The biggest irritants for the personal planets for Pisces this month are going to be the movement of the sun through Aries, and then Mercury is also going to go through Aries. Aries energy doesn't flow super well with Pisces, but it can work for your benefit as long as you don't resist what it's trying to do. Aries wants you to take action, wants you to do something, and since you've got some nice open energy this month, like we talked about, it's aligned well. So you might have to actually put your money where your mouth is, or do something, or take action, and it could feel like a little bit uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be bad. It just is, it rubs against you a little bit, we'll say, in a way that's not completely pleasant, but you can deal with the pressures of it by actually taking action. The movement of Venus and Mars through air signs is also a little bit of a nuisance for Pisces placements because it's an energy that doesn't flow well with yours. That's just the best way to say it. So you're going to have some awkwardness and some annoyances with these personal planets. But these things pass very quickly, and they don't have to be anything worse than you make them. Okay, so my homework for you this month, if you want to accept it, is to step into a really nice role of an observer. Okay, this air energy is good for something, which is to become more of an observer in your life. Pisces energy maneuvers through life through the lens of emotion, and that's a beautiful way to move through life. And when the planets are in air signs, it kind of flies in the face of that. So if you just sort of like own it and embrace it, then you can just put on a different mask, try some different things on, do things a little bit differently, and go with the flow. Observe this month the things that are upsetting you, the things that are making you mad. Observe the people around you and the types of charges they have, and write these things down. Write the charges down that you notice that are bothering you this month. And then you can see the types of things that are causing you to lose your power. Charges, meaning we're not living our lives in charge. That's what Michael Brown says. And if we're not living our lives in charge, we're going to feel disempowered. So this month, just be an observer. Notice the things that are taking you out of your center. Notice the things that are throwing other people off around you, either that you do or other things. And just observe, and possibly in that space of observation, some solutions may come in that might not have been as readily available if you were interfacing through life in the usual way that you do. So you can stretch a little bit out of your norm and possibly have some good answers this month. Okay, so you've got a continued storyline of karma in the workplace. This is compliments of the transiting South Node moving through there, and that's true for all Pisces placements, early, middle, and late degree. So this can be for better or worse. You might have your job because of a karmic connection. You might be able to get a new job or get work opportunities because of a karmic connection. So people that you're drawn to, that you have that some kind of weird, you can't describe it, a connection with, that can really help you. You may feel in some ways like it's working against you if you're having work karma and having frustrations, but being aware of what's happening can help to burn the karma off. So, and basically understanding like somebody else's position. It's a really great karma burning off tool to understand what somebody else is thinking or experiencing opposite from the position that you're in. Okay, so think about that in terms of anything having to do with your work and any other karma clearing tools that you have. you might want to apply those to your workspace, because there is quite a bit of that karmic circle at play there. Something else that's interesting is the star goddess Astraea. Astraea speaks to us of accountability. She's a goddess of justice, but it's very much also an inward turning justice, where there's certain personal accountability that we have to other people, and it could be causing you trouble. So if you don't feel like something's quite right in your world, then look for that personal accountability and look to own it as much as possible, maybe through writing a letter to somebody, even if they never receive it, just kind of you owning it, or maybe an acknowledgement to somebody about something. This storyline of Astraea is very strong in your house of children and romantic partners, okay? So if you have kids or there are any notable children in your life, there could be something that you're accountable for that you have to get clear and get worked out. And it could also be with your romantic partners. So just kind of keep that in mind and ask yourself the question, where am I accountable? Where can I be accountable in a deeper way to take ownership for some issues or some problems? And that process can bring you amazing blessings at this time, because that's what Astraea wants. And Astraea is actually in a water sign. So that can bring Pisces energies even more blessings when you're maneuvering through the month asking that question. And again, you can keep it in the observer realm, like we talked about before, where you're like observing, okay, I see that someone thinks I owe them something. May or may not mean you do. I see that I think I owe someone something. Is it even true? That's what Byron Katie says. Is it even true? So just kind of play with these words and these themes of accountability and observation this month, and it can really take the sting or edge off of some of the more dicey aspects, and it can really help you to take advantage of this sort of resting space in between these epic times of change that we're dancing between. Okay, so if you'd like to have more information about this month, I've got tons of resources. You can look for Written Horoscopes by me at cozybysweetstarlight.com. All the links that I give you are also in the notes underneath the video. Definitely look for my very extensive Venus retrograde series. Venus retrograde is coming. You'll want to know as much about Venus retrograde as possible, and I have created a massive amount of resources for you. So if you just search for Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde, you can start getting prepped about the energy of Venus retrograde. Venus is going to be retrograde in Gemini, and as we get into that time more, we'll talk about where that's going to be for you. And if you'd like to have more blogs on astrology to help you best use the new moon and full moon, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com, check out my blog there. If you'd like to learn astrology, either for professional purposes or just to help your friends or for your self-development or just because you love astrology, you can go to anniehelpsyou.com, or you can go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, and then you'll see my school, Lume Life, Lume life.com. And you can check out my Becoming a Professional Astrologer Mastery course. That will blow your mind with the layers of complexity that is woven into this. It will definitely equip you for professional astrology readings if you'd like to do that, and also teach you how to earn money that way. So check out the resources that I have for you to expand what I've given you here. Overall, an amazing month of weightless suspension in between these titanic changes. Hopefully there can be quite a bit of rest and quite a bit of flow for you in that beautiful bubble sitting between here. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.